Where's all your...
glitter and ribbons and magic tricks?
Yeah.
In my office.
You have an office. Where?
It's a secret.
If you don't know me, I have literally dreamed of having my own art studio since I have dreamt of having anything. And after 23 years, I finally have a whole room completely to myself to create anything I want that is just a room purely dedicated to art and fun and creative anything, and just everything about that just excites me to my core. Saying that, I haven't actually really been able to use this studio for much art as of yet, because I actually only just finished like putting everything together and moving all the furniture around and doing this wall, and then literally as soon as it was finished I got ill and have not been able to use the studio since it has been finished because I've been ill the whole time. I'm actually still ill now, as you can probably tell in my voice and my nose, but I quite frankly am just bored of being ill, and I am just gonna choose to ignore it because I'm just so ready and so excited to get back into making anything there is to create. So today I'm gonna give you a little tour of my studio where probably most of my future videos will be set. The first thing, ironically, that I will be creating in this room is a tour of my art studio itself, which just feels so fitting. So when you first walk in, we've got ugly zone number 1, where behind the door I have got my suitcase, quite frankly just because there is literally nowhere else in the entire apartment to put it, which is really annoying because, let's be honest, I only use this like once a year if I'm lucky, so it really does not need to be there all the time, but I literally just, where else do you put a suitcase? But it is very annoying because this also means that this door can't open all the way, and it actually can't close all the way either, because as you can tell on the back of my door are all of my coats and jackets, because even though this is like an art studio, it is like craft room, hobby room, whatever you want to call it, but basically like I enjoy sewing and upcycling clothes and putting outfits together and stuff like that, and so all of that is also down here, like all of my clothes and hair and makeup and everything. It's kind of just like an everything creative room, so that is why all my coats are on this door. But the annoying thing is that the hooks that I have got don't actually like fit over the door properly because the door is too thick, and so it doesn't fully close, and because of the suitcase it also doesn't fully open. So not the best, but we make do with what we've got. I get questions on these bead drawers literally every single day, so I will be putting the link for these in the description. I'm actually currently, slash for the last like couple of months, been working on putting together like a huge like Notion database kind of situation for all of my links to everything, like all the different beads that I use, all of my different art supplies, makeup that I use, clothes, everything like that. And so stay tuned if you're interested in that, because that is so close to being ready to launch. So on this side we've got all of my regular beads and findings, very color coordinated, as you can tell. Yes, this did take hours. And then in the second little set of drawers on the side, I have got anything that is too big to fit in the regular drawers. Basically I can definitely do like a whole bead collection of like just all of my bead drawers. If you guys are interested in seeing that, let me know. Then down the side I've got all of these little jars and pots of little strips of paper, which you will know what these are if you know me from TikTok, but if not, these are basically all the pots that I use for my jewelry making challenges. Actually, I say jewelry, these ones are for the jewelry making Fate Makes series, which is where I basically pick a random option from all of these and then have to make a jewelry piece that fits the criteria. I've also got the clay version in these little handmade little air dry clay pots that I made. Again, same concept as the jewelry series, just with clay. And then finally, this is actually kind of like a little Easter egg. I have also got these pots, which even if you do know me from TikTok, you may not even recognize, depending on when you are watching this, because these ones are actually for an upcoming series that is going to be a sewing slash upcycling version of the Fate Make series. And then on top of my bead drawers, I have got all of these other little pots of beads, basically. Well, here we've got this little Woody Toy Story glass, which is so cute, but I can't actually use this as a proper glass because I did do a lead test, and it is definitely lead paint, so not going to be using that for drinking out of. To be honest, I probably shouldn't even be touching or, you know, breathing near it, but I don't really care that much anyway. But in here I've just got my tiny little bead spoons. In this little dish I have got a bunch of beads that I have basically got set aside for my hidden gem series, which is another one of my TikTok jewelry series where I basically use my least used beads and charms, such as this like giant acrylic moon that you basically are never gonna need for anything, and I have to find a cool fun way of making it into a jewelry piece, so foreshadowing a few little future episodes there. Up here I've also got all of my like organized boxes of beads, like my seed beads and letter beads and all that kind of stuff. This is my bead soup, which if you don't know, I basically put any leftover beads that I have either from bags that like didn't fit in here, or just any leftovers that I didn't use from my jewelry projects and didn't want to have to go back through and reorganize. I just shove them all in here and then sell them as little small bags that you can buy from my Etsy of basically just a random assortment of my beads all mixed together. So again, go to my Etsy if you are interested. And then another like coming soon kind of thing, and here we have got another bead soup, but this is actually going to be a findings soup, which is basically all of the metal components that you need for jewelry making, such as chain and eye pins and earring hooks and jump rings, keyring bases, anything like that. So that will be coming very soon. And then in the actual drawers underneath the bead drawers, I have got actual big things in here, such as clothes and like electronic stuff. I've basically got tops in here, bottoms in here, and then all of my electric stuff, chargers, like spare batteries, anything like that, I literally just dump in here. This is the most unorganized drawer in the world, but at the same time, being unorganized is my version of being organized, I have realized. Can we just talk about the freaking like sunstorm that is going on right now? It looks beautiful. That does not look good over there though. I am so glad that I don't have to go outside. Next up, we have my armchair. This originally was not even like supposed to be part of my room. This was actually just from the living room and was going to stay there, but then it ended up just basically becoming our junk chair pretty much, where we would just shove all of our like dirty laundry and coats and like just random stuff like that, and we never actually used it as a chair. And so kind of two birds with one stone. Now I have an armchair in here, which has turned out to be absolutely the best thing ever, and now we actually keep upstairs a lot more tidy because we don't have a designated space to just pile crap basically. But yeah, this has now basically become like my favorite spot in my studio, one of them at least. I love my entire studio. I don't actually think I could pick just one. This is where I read and crochet and contemplate life, and I watch TV in this chair mainly because my TV is literally right there, which originally was not the point, hence the fact that the chair is actually facing this way, but happy accident because it kind of is just like the perfect seat in the studio, because if you're sitting, you know, how the chair is actually intended to be sat on, then you are facing like, if you can see it from my angle, if you were like a guest sitting in this chair, then if I was sat over there working, then we could talk from here, or if I was sat over there doing my makeup or something, then we could talk from here. But then also if you scooch to the side, because this armchair is actually like really wide, so you can like sit sideways across it, then we can just sit here and watch Gilmore Girls on TV, and what more could you ask for? Now onto these drawers, which I actually did buy with the intention of painting, and I've actually got some like really nice decorative like drawer handles that I got literally like 2 years ago with the intention of turning this set of drawers into this set of drawers, but I still have not got around to it and probably won't for a long time, so I won't get too excited about that. But as of right now, they still do the job of holding all of my craft supplies. So for fun, you know what, let's go through and see if I can actually tell you what is in all of these drawers without looking. I actually don't know if I can. I probably can't because I just reorganized these, so everything is like not in the same place as it used to be. Used to be clay, but now I know that clay is not in here, but I actually don't know what is. Okay, right, already failed. In here is string of some kind. In here is clay tools. In here is... The ironic thing is that if I'm looking for something, I know exactly which drawer to look in, but I can't actually tell you what is in any of them. And here is just like miscellaneous craft supplies that don't really go anywhere else. In here is actually my drawer of receipts for my taxes, which is so fun. In here, there's a little hint sneaking out, but in here is like beginnings of projects, if that makes sense, like plain photo frames and that kind of thing to decorate. In here is... God knows, honestly, what is in here? Oh, candle making supplies. Yeah, I never would have got that. Then we've got resin, embroidery thread, and finally my lino cutting supplies. Okay, I've kind of got into a bit of a roll with things at the end. And then another very boring part, but under here I've also got some bead spinners and looms, my printer along with some different types of paper, very exciting, my camera battery charger, and my bin, and my tripod. All the boring stuff, you're welcome. And then here we have the main event of my studio, my little desk area. This is where I do the majority of my actual work. This is where I film all of my videos. This is where I do my jewelry making and clay and painting and basically all of my work related stuff other than like laptop work, like editing or replying to emails or anything like that. That kind of stuff I do over on my other table, which I'll show you in a minute, but I don't know, I just don't really like doing it over here. I think it just feels like too creative of a space to, you know, suck the life out of it it with a laptop. I don't know, something like that. But I just love this corner so much. I only just did this collage wall, literally, as I said, like in the last couple of days. But the difference it has made, oh my god, like having a collage wall just makes me feel like myself. Like as soon as I started putting stuff on the walls, it literally was like, oh, this is my studio. There's just something about it that just speaks to my soul, and I love it so much. It's just like everything that inspires me just there all at once, and I can just see all of it in one go, and it's just like, where do you even begin? Love it. I had another collage wall in my old bedroom at home, which if you've been around for that long then you'll remember that, but it only felt right to do it in my new apartment because in my last apartment I couldn't. I lived there for like 2 years, but I could never do a full collage wall because it was student accommodation and you weren't really allowed to put anything on the walls, which I obviously did, but to the extent of literally filling the entire walls, that would have just been an absolute nightmare to have to like paint over all the blue tack marks, so I was not gonna do that. But now I have an actual apartment and I can do whatever I want. So, but yeah, I've just had like some kind of collage wall. Like I also had like a Vogue magazine wall in one of my other childhood bedrooms, where one of the walls I just completely covered with pages of Vogue magazines and like made a collage over the top of it, and that was when I was like 10. So like I've been at this for a while. I feel like it's just tradition in all of my homes at this point, and I love it, and it was definitely worth the many hours of work it took, and the fact that I was ill for all of it. The wall actually is still a work in progress because even though, as you can see, the walls over here are very much full, it does trail off around here. I do want to continue the collage wall around these walls, literally like all the way around, so it basically fills all of the walls, but I actually like ran out of stuff to stick up. So, and by the way, as for the actual like big paintings in here, these were actually done by my dad, as well as these like postery style ones, because my dad is also an artist, hence where I get all of my creative energy from. And honestly, having an artist for a dad is just the best thing in the world because you literally get free paintings for life basically. And even cooler than that, I have paintings of myself on my walls. Like how many people can say that? Up here I've got this shelf with all of my pots of like different pens and paintbrushes and everything like that. I used to have them organized in like boxes stacked on top of each other and in separate little pencil cases and stuff, but I much prefer just having everything out where I can see it. Otherwise I literally just won't even remember that it's there. So having it this way has been working out a lot better for me, but also I just feel like it looks really cool because it literally looks like part of the collage wall as well. Across here we have got all of my wire, which I literally attached up here with a very makeshift contraption. I literally just cut a long piece of chain, added some lobster clasps, and that is basically the system, and it is just wrapped all the way around the top of the shelves and then wraps and connects underneath, and it just keeps all of my wire and everything all organized on there, which looks really cool, but I haven't actually attempted to use it yet, so we'll see how long it actually lasts. On my desk we have got some paint palettes, and the one at the bottom is not perfect, but I actually did make this myself and I'm very proud of it. The glazing was very rushed, as you can see, which is why it's got a bunch of bubbles and stuff, but it's supposed to be modeled after those like eyeshadow palettes that you have as a kid, if you know what I'm talking about. And I made it as a paint palette in ceramics at uni and I freaking love it. I've not used it yet, but I just think it is the cutest thing ever. And then on this little napkin holder I have got my bead design board, as well as all of my Fate Makes boards, which again, these are all for my series over on TikTok, which either you are already familiar with and that is how you have found me on YouTube, or you've somehow found my YouTube first, in which case no time like the present to go and find my TikTok as well. This box here is actually also for a TikTok series, but one that again has not actually started yet, so a little bit of foreshadowing. Not gonna reveal what this series is just yet, but it'll be coming very, very soon. As I said, I kind of have preferences of where I like to sit for different activities, and I do just sort of like naturally find little setups for different activities. But for certain things where I can kind of like move around as I'm doing it, for example when I'm jewelry making, in which case I might move over to my armchair or upstairs or wherever I want to go do all of the boring prep stuff that I don't need to do physically sat here on camera. And so that is where this little trolley comes in. In here I have basically got everything that I can do in multiple multiple places and can just wheel around with me or take upstairs or basically take with me wherever I need to go. So on the top is all of my jewelry stuff, obviously other than the literal beads. So I've got my jar of pliers and a bunch of just little like pots of just like round beads, my trays of findings and jump rings, and these little like ring tool things, and oh god. And then in the bottom two trays are just my packing supplies for my Etsy shop. And that is basically everything in that trolley, and now I think we are just onto the final table. Honestly, this may only be like, I don't know, 20-minute video or something. This has taken me all day to film. This literally taken me like 3 hours to film. I don't know how. Actually, first I need to show you my wardrobe. On top I have got my sewing machine and my herbal locker, and then at the back are just some little pink baskets that I've got my hair tools, and then there's another one back there for like pewter supplies, which is very niche, but I'll make a video on it at some point. And then definitely not the most interesting, but in the middle just rack part of the wardrobe is just my jumpers and just regular old wardrobe stuff. On the bottom I have all of my very messy sewing and crochet supplies, and finally on top I have got all of my craft kits that I am still yet to do. And I was debating doing some of those craft kits as like a little YouTube mini series kind of thing. If you guys want to see that, then let me know, because I've got so many stored up. And then finally onto the last table, which this is probably my favorite thing in the entire studio, honestly, because not only is it just incredibly useful in general, like this size and shape of table is just perfect for like cutting fabric. If I want to pack my orders on here, it is just like a very useful table. I mainly just do my makeup on this table, to be honest, and like my laptop work, but it's just a really good size. However, if I like need more floor space and this is just getting in my way, let me show you a magic trick. And there you go. I feel like I needn't say more about why I love this table so much. If you don't get it now, then you never will. Useful, looks nice, and comes with a party trick. I'm sold. Also, as if that's not good enough, it freaking has wheels, so you can literally wheel it around anywhere. I can pull this table up to my armchair and literally like work from my desk from my armchair. It does not get better than that. Also, I forgot to mention, there is also this like shelf part at the bottom of the table, and so this is where I keep all of my sketchbooks and pens and easel and just big tools like this. And that is basically my art studio so far. I love it. I hope you guys love it. And if not, then I mean, thank you for watching until this point anyway. I am so happy to be back to YouTube. I am so freaking ready. I have got so much planned. I've been planning this for so long. Lots more to come. Thank you for watching. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you have a very good rest of your day or week or whatever time it is wherever you are. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in a few days for a brand new video. Do you have bacon for me? Mm-hmm. Thank you. Ding ding. Oh yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's what I mean. Like
cooked pears, caramelized pears on pancakes is fucking incredible.
What
are you doing my plate? Thank you. I love you.
Love you.